Hello friends, in this video we will be learning system bus. We will see what is the significance of system bus in fact and how address bus, data bus and control bus works together. Let us begin. To start with system bus, I'm sure you must have seen the previous videos where I have made you understand what is meant by bus. So let us summarize it once. Bus is defined as bunch of conductors. So suppose you have taken several conductors together and if you made a bunch out of it, that bunch of conductor is known as bus. Now every conductor is going to carry 1 bit, so 2 conductors will carry 2 bit, 3 conductors will carry 3 bit. So when someone says the bus size is 16 bit, it means there are total 16 conductors inside the bus. So in a way it has become 16-bit bus. So 8-bit bus means there are total 8 conductors inside the bus. Remember, every conductor is going to carry only 1 bit at a time. When I say 1 bit, it is a binary bit, that is either logic 1 or logic 0. So when it comes to system bus, it has 3 buses inside it, that is address bus, data bus and control bus. Remember, those set of lines are not just carrying numbers. Those set of numbers, that is logic 1s and logic 0s, are some information. Now based on that information, we have classification as address bus, data bus and control bus. Like if that information is an address, it is what we call as address bus. If that information is data, it is called as data bus. And if that information is something what we call as control signals, which stands for read control signal and write control signal, then that respective bus is known as control bus. So overall, address bus, data bus and control bus are collectively known as system bus. So now we will see significance of system bus. So to see the significance of system bus, again we have to go to the classification, that is address bus, data bus and control bus. We will see significance of every bus here. So first of all, I'll start with address bus here. Right now we know only one fact about address bus, that it is a bus that carries an address. Now let us take an example that the size of address bus is just 2 bit. So what is meant by 2-bit address bus? 2-bit address bus is a bus having only 2 conductors inside it, right? So in fact I can show you physically also 2 conductors like this. Now let us name first conductor as A0, the other conductor as A1. Is that right? As I said earlier, that one conductor is going to carry only one binary bit, so 2 conductors together will carry 2 bit, and that's the reason why it is called as 2-bit address bus. So possibly A1, A0 will have possible bits, like both of them may be carrying 0. It might happen that one of them is carrying 0, the other one is carrying 1, or it might happen the first one is carrying 1, the other one is carrying 0, or it might happen that both the conductors at a time are carrying 1s. In a way, we got total 4 possible combinations, am I right? So A1, A0 will have 4 possible combinations as 00, 01, 10, 11. Is there any other combination that you know out of it? Of course, no, because 2-bit can give you only 4 possible combinations, that is 00, 01, 10, 11. So right now, whatever bits are present on these lines is now called as address, because name of the bus is what we call as address bus. Right now, these addresses are in terms of binary. I want them in hexadecimal. So how do we convert this binary into hexadecimal? Of course, by using method called as 8421, right? 8421 method. So right now what I see, all of them are 0, so I will interpret this as 0 hex, right? In second combination 0 1, the 1 is below 8421, that is 1, therefore I can call this as 1 hex. As you can see about this one, it is below 2, so I can say it is 2 hex. Now as you can see these 2 ones, it is below 2 and 1, so 2 plus 1 is 3, so I can consider this as 3 hex. There is no other possible combination, so these are the only addresses that we have. So tell me, we have already studied that these buses are ownership of microprocessor. So who is the owner of this address bus? Of course, microprocessor. So microprocessor with the help of 2-bit address bus is capable to generate only 4 addresses, am I right? Now when we talk about a memory, we have already seen that memory is nothing but number of locations, that is set of number of locations. Every location have got unique address. With the help of 4 addresses, can I say that I can have only 4 unique locations or 4 locations of the memory? If you remember, one location size of the memory is 1 byte. So with 4 locations, how much memory that is accessible to microprocessor now? Of course, it is 4 byte. So with the help of 4 locations, I can have 4 addresses, that is the size of memory that I can have, that is 4 byte memory. So I would say this is the maximum memory possible. In short, I can write MMP. So MMP stands here as maximum memory possible is equal to 4 byte memory, because we got only 4 locations because of 2-bit address bus. So what if I want more memory? If you want more memory, it means you want more locations. Suppose if you want more location, that location must be allotted with the next address. That is, after 3 hex, you can use this 4 hex location. Is that right? But then let us interpret 4 hex in terms of binary. So in terms of binary, I can write this as 100. But then to achieve this, you require 3 bits. To achieve 3 bits together, you should have 3 conductors. But the limitation here, that since you got only 2 bit, you cannot have third bit. Am I right? So you cannot have this 4 hex location also. It is not possible. Moral of the story: number of lines inside address bus is going to decide how much memory that can be accessed by microprocessor, and the relation is 2 to the power n, where n is nothing but size of address bus in terms of bits, that is number of conductors inside an address bus. Let us verify how. For example, now you have decided that you're going to increase the size of address bus in order to achieve more memory. Now we will see how we can do this. For example, a microprocessor is now having 3-bit address bus, having 3 conductors right from A0 to A2 now, that is A0, A1 and A2. So A2, A1, A0 will have 8 possible combinations. Is that right? Every binary combination is going to give you one unique address, that is 0 hex, 1 hex, 2 hex, 3 hex, 4 hex, 5 hex, 6 hex and the 7 hex. So if you see collectively there are total 8 addresses, and every address gives you one location. In a way, can I say I will have a memory with 8 locations now, where one location, if stands for 1 byte, then 8 locations is going to provide you 8 byte of memory. In this case, maximum memory possible is 8 byte and not more than that. Am I right? But effectively what you see, that even if you increase the size of the address bus even by 1 bit, the memory is doubled now here, right? So let us write the final relation between number of address lines that you have and the size of memory that you can access. So maximum memory possible is always equal to 2 to the power number of address bits that you have, and the unit of the memory that you are going to obtain would be byte in size. For example, suppose you have 5-bit address. So what is meant by 5-bit address? That is from A0 to A4, an address bus with 5 conductors, right? In that case, how much memory you can access? Let us calculate this. In this case, maximum memory possible is always 2 to the power 5 byte. That is nothing but 32 byte. Now, if you remember, we have already used 2-bit address bus or 3-bit address bus. Let us recall the same. With 2-bit address bus, where we had 2 conductors, that is A0 and A1, we have maximum memory possible by using the formula 2 to the power 2 byte, which is nothing but 4 byte. This 4 byte memory have starting location has 0 hex and ending location has 3 hex. So what I am now concerned is also about the range of locations that you are going to have, that is 0 hex to 3 hex is considered as 4 byte memory. Am I right? Now When it came to 3-bit address bus, if you remember, that is A0 to A2 or A0 to A2, maximum memory possible in that case were 2 raised to 3 byte, which comes out to be 8 byte. We know that 8 byte means 8 locations, right from 0 hex to 7 hex. This also we have seen. 0 hex is called as starting address, 7 hex is called as ending address. The reason why I have summarized this again, because now I'm going to come back to my original example, that is 5-bit address having 5 address lines, that is from A0 to A4, having maximum memory possible as 2 to the power 5 byte, which is 32 byte. I'm concerned about starting location and ending location. See, for 4 byte if I say 0 to 3, for 8 byte if I say 0 to 7, for 32 byte I cannot say 0 to 31. I mean, of course, yes, 0 to 31 is valid point if you are talking in terms of decimal. Mind it, the address range that we are going to use, it is in terms of hexadecimal and not in terms of decimal. I'm sure you got my point, what I mean to say. What I really want is ending address, because starting address is always 0. Every building is going to start with a ground floor, right? So every memory will start with 0 hex location. What is going to matter is nothing but an ending address. So what I want, ending address. How do we get this? It's very easy. I'll give you a simple approach to do this. If you remember, when it comes to 2-bit address bus, what was ending location in terms of binary? If you remember, 2-bit address bus, what was the ending location in terms of binary? Can I say 2 ones? Because we had only 2-bit address bus. So 2 ones in binary is nothing but 3 hex. Is that right? Similarly, when it comes to 3-bit address bus, what was the ending location? Can I say 3 binary ones? And 3 binary ones is nothing but 7x. Similarly, when we have 5-bit address, can I say ending location will be having 5 binary ones together? So I'm writing 5 binary ones here. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have grouped them as 4 bits together. So above which I can write now 8421. So here 3 bits are missing. I can consider them as 0. So what do you get here? 1. And what do you get here? F. Is that right? What does that mean? 1 hex is nothing but ending address. So starting address I can take 00 hex and ending address I can take this as 1fx. Now this becomes the memory range for 5-bit address bus, that is 32 byte, right? Let's take more example, then it would be quite clear to you. Suppose if we take an example of 7-bit address bus. Then consists of 7 address lines A0 to A6. In that case, maximum memory possible is equal to 2 to the power 7 byte. 2 raised to 7 byte gives you 128 byte. So again, I have concerned about the starting location and ending location. How to get ending locations? It is very easy. Tell me, the size of address bus is 7 bit. So what is the ending address possible? That is 7 binary ones. So 7 binary ones, I am going to group them in group of 4 bit. That is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, 6, 7. Is that right? Here I can write 0. So what this gives you? F. And what this gives you? 7. If you write 8421, you will understand this. So in 8421, if all of them are ones, if you add all of them, that is 8 plus 4 plus 2 plus 1, it gives you 15. 15 in decimal, that is in hexadecimal, I can interpret this as F. Whereas in upper 4 bits, as you can see, there are ones below 4, 2 and 1. So 4 plus 2 is 6 and plus 1 is 7. So this gives you 7F. In a way, 7fx has become an ending address. Therefore, I can say 128 byte is a memory having 00 hex as starting location and 7fx as ending location, right? After 7 bit, we can now increase the size of address bus and I can now talk about 16-bit address, let's say. That is from A0 to A15. So in A0 to A15, that is 16-bit address bus, what is the maximum memory possible? Let us see. Maximum memory possible is 2 to the power 16 byte. Am I right? Now 2 to the power 16 byte, can I say 1 byte is 1 location, means 2 to the power 16 byte means 2 to the power 16 locations, where 2 raised to 16 is 65,536. Imagine a building with 65,536 floors or 65,536 locations makes one unit. That is what we call as 2 to the power 16 byte. Now 2 to the power 16 byte can be further written as 2 to the power 6 into 2 to the power 10 byte. Am I right? What is 2 to the power 6? It is 64. What is 2 to the power 10 byte? 2 raised to 10 byte is what we call as 1 KB. This is what we have already learned. What is 64 times 1 KB? Of course, it is 64 KB. What does that mean? 2 to the power 16 byte gives you 64 KB memory. So this is just 64 KB memory. Again, we have concern regarding the starting location and ending location. In this case, how to get ending address? It is very easy. The size of bus is 16 bit. It means 16 binary ones is nothing but the ending address. So 16 binary ones are written in group of 4. So now you can write this as F, F, F and F. So FF hex is an ending address for 64 KB memory. So starting location I can write 0000 hex and ending location is FF hex. So this is the address range for 64 KB memory. Is that right? So now we have seen the significance of address bus, or we can put significance of address bus in single sentence. That is, size of address bus is going to decide the maximum memory possible that can be accessed by microprocessor, right? So size of address bus is going to decide the maximum memory that can be accessed by microprocessor. So this is the significance of address bus. Now we will see what is the significance of data bus. Remember, whether it is address bus, data bus or control bus, collectively it is known as system bus, and system bus is a property of microprocessor. It means microprocessor is the owner of this system bus. So let's talk about data bus now. Significance of data bus is very simple. For example, let's say if the data bus size is 8 bit, what does that mean? With 8 bit data bus, how much data microprocessor can receive? Of course 8 bit. How much data microprocessor can give? Of course 8 bit. It means you can give either 8 bit data or you can receive 8 bit data if size of data bus is 8 bit. Meaning that size of data bus is going to decide how much data microprocessor can receive and microprocessor can transmit at a time. Now, in case of microprocessor, we don't say at a time, we say in terms of machine cycle, that is in one attempt. That is, if size of data bus is, let's say, 16 bit, microprocessor can get 16 bit data or it can give 16 bit data in one attempt, that is in one machine cycle. So is it really possible to have transaction of 32 bit data with 16 bit data bus? It is possible. It is possible in 2 attempts, or we say it is possible in 2 machine cycles. Nowadays, microprocessor, that is, we don't call them as microprocessor now they are called as just processors. So today's processor have got 64 bit data bus. So imagine if you want to transmit 64 bit data or if you want to receive 64 bit data, it is possible in only one machine cycle. Is that right? When it comes to 8085 microprocessor, so let me tell you in advance, that is 8085 microprocessor have 8 bit data bus. So it can transmit 8 bit data or it can receive 8 bit data in one machine cycle. Imagine if 8085 want to receive 64 bit data. Yes, it is possible, but it is in terms of 8 machine cycle. It requires 8 machine cycles to do so. So imagine today's processor which does it in only one machine cycle, microprocessor 8085 will take 8 machine cycles to do the same thing. Therefore, significance of data bus can be written only like that it is going to decide how much data MUPI can receive or mu-p can give in one machine cycle. So this is just the significance of data bus. If the size of data bus is more data can be taken in one machine cycle. It is not that if the size of data bus is less, we cannot have transaction of a bigger data. It is possible that it requires several machine cycles, that is more than one machine cycle, right? Now let's have discussion on control bus. Control bus, as the name implied, it is going to carry control signals. So basically, job of control bus is to carry control signals. And there are two types of control signal. One is called as read, the other one is called as write. Remember, both the control signals are generated by microprocessor. If it is generating read control signal, it means microprocessor wants to read from some devices. If microprocessor is generating write control signal, it means microprocessor wants to write into a device. So remember, this indicates mu-p wants to read, and simply write control signal generation indicates mu-p wants to write. Remember, this read and write control signal cannot be generated by any other device other than the microprocessor. So only microprocessor can generate either read or write. So whenever microprocessor wants to read, it generates read control signal. Whenever microprocessor wants to write, it can generate write control signal. Remember, both the control signals cannot be generated at a time. The reason is, when read control signal is generated, the data is coming towards microprocessor because mu-p is reading. Imagine yourself when you are reading the contents are coming towards you. So imagine as if you are a microprocessor. When you are generating read control signal, it means the content is coming towards you. So you means interpret yourself as a microprocessor. So when contents are coming, it means the data is coming towards microprocessor via data bus. So data bus is receiving the data, is that right? Whereas when it comes to write control signal, when write control signal is generated, it means mu-p is willing to write. This time mu-p is giving data via data bus. And remember, when you are providing the data with data bus, you cannot receive the data in the same data bus because it is just a single bus. We don't have two separate buses for receiving and transmitting. You got only one common bus. So using a particular bus, if you are transmitting the data, you cannot receive, and whenever you are receiving the data, nobody can transmit. So only one operation is going to happen at a time. Therefore, only one control signal is generated by microprocessor at a time, either read or write. So this is the significance of control bus. I'm sure you must have understood now the significance of the system bus, and also in future next videos also we are going to discuss this in detail. Thank you.